Your joints are not wearing out because of age. They are wearing out because of stillness. And the most powerful protection science has discovered isn't inside a supplement bottle, but hidden in one simple change you make every single day. The first realization begins with a quiet truth about the architecture of the human body. Joints survive on movement the way living ecosystems survive on flowing water. Inside each joint lies cartilage, smooth and resilient, designed to absorb impact and allow motion without friction. Yet, unlike muscles and organs, cartilage does not receive direct blood flow. There are no blood vessels delivering oxygen and nutrients to keep it alive. Instead, cartilage depends on a remarkable process that only movement can provide. Each time a joint bends, compresses, and releases, it draws in nourishment from the surrounding synovial fluid and pushes out metabolic waste. This gentle exchange keeps the tissue hydrated, elastic, and capable of repair. Without movement, this process slows, and the joint environment begins to stagnate. Modern life has quietly disrupted this natural rhythm. Hours spent sitting at desks, driving, or looking down at screens create long periods where joints remain nearly motionless. During these still stretches, synovial fluid does not circulate efficiently. The cartilage, deprived of its usual nourishment, becomes less hydrated and more vulnerable to microscopic damage. Scientific observations using imaging and biochemical analysis show that prolonged immobility reduces the diffusion of essential nutrients into cartilage layers. Over time, this leads to subtle thinning and increased friction within the joint. Many people interpret the resulting stiffness as an inevitable part of aging, yet the underlying cause is often a simple lack of gentle, frequent movement rather than the passage of time itself. When a person stands up after sitting for hours and feels that familiar tightness in the knees or hips, what they are experiencing is not merely discomfort. It is a temporary reduction in joint lubrication. As soon as they begin to walk, the sensation gradually eases. This is not coincidence. It is physiology in action. Movement compresses the cartilage and then releases it, allowing synovial fluid to flow in and out like a sponge drawing water. With each step, the joint rehydrates and regains its smooth glide. Scientific studies on joint mechanics demonstrate that even a few minutes of light activity can restore lubrication and improve the mechanical properties of cartilage. This means that the body possesses a built-in system for joint maintenance that activates whenever we choose to move. Supplements often promise to feed the joints with compounds like glucosamine or collagen, and while these substances can play supportive roles in certain contexts, they cannot replicate the dynamic nourishment created by motion. Nutrients taken orally must travel through complex digestive and metabolic pathways before reaching joint tissues, and their delivery is indirect and often limited. Movement, by contrast, delivers nutrients directly through mechanical stimulation and fluid exchange. It activates cellular responses within cartilage, encouraging the production of protective molecules and maintaining the structural integrity of the tissue. In this way, movement functions not only as lubrication, but also as communication, signaling joint cells to maintain and repair their environment. The simplicity of this mechanism can be surprising. It does not require intense exercise or athletic performance. In fact, excessively forceful movement can strain joints rather than support them. What joints respond to most favorably is gentle, repeated motion throughout the day. Standing up and walking for a few minutes every hour, rotating the shoulders, bending and straightening the knees, or shifting posture regularly creates a steady circulation of synovial fluid. This rhythm prevents stagnation and keeps cartilage nourished. Scientific research into occupational health has shown that individuals who incorporate frequent micromovements into sedentary routines experience less joint stiffness, and better long-term mobility compared to those who remain still for extended periods, even if they engage in occasional workouts. There is also a neurological dimension to this process. Joints contain sensory receptors that communicate with the brain about position and movement. When joints move regularly, these receptors remain active and responsive, maintaining coordination and stability. When movement is absent, the sensory feedback diminishes, and the brain's connection to the joint becomes less precise. This can lead to subtle changes in posture and gait that increase stress on joint surfaces. Gentle, consistent motion keeps this communication pathway open, allowing the nervous system to guide movement efficiently and protect joint structures from unnecessary strain. The body, in this sense, is constantly learning from how we use it, adapting its internal systems to match our daily patterns. Hydration also plays a role in the health of synovial fluid and cartilage, but even adequate hydration cannot compensate for immobility. Water must be circulated within the joint environment to be effective. Movement acts as the mechanism that distributes this fluid evenly across cartilage surfaces. Without motion, even well-hydrated tissues can experience localized dryness and increased friction. This explains why people often feel stiff in the morning after hours of sleep. The joints have been relatively still, and circulation within them has slowed. Gentle stretching or walking shortly after waking quickly restores fluid movement and reduces discomfort. The body responds almost immediately when its natural motion is reintroduced. What makes this understanding powerful is its accessibility. It does not depend on specialized equipment, expensive treatments, or complex routines. It asks only for awareness and consistency. A person who chooses to stand, stretch, and move regularly throughout the day creates an internal environment where joints remain nourished and resilient over months and years. This simple habit can preserve mobility and reduce the likelihood of chronic discomfort. Science continues to explore the biochemical details of joint maintenance, yet the fundamental principle remains elegantly clear. Joints thrive on movement because movement sustains the flow of life within them. The relationship between muscles and joints is one of quiet cooperation, a partnership that determines whether movement feels effortless or strained. Every joint in the body is surrounded by a network of muscles designed to absorb force, guide motion, and protect delicate internal structures. When these muscles function well, joints experience balanced pressure and smooth alignment. When muscles weaken or remain inactive for long periods, the burden gradually shifts onto the joints themselves. This shift is subtle at first, almost unnoticeable. Yet over time, it becomes one of the most significant contributors to joint discomfort and degeneration. Understanding this relationship reveals why strengthening surrounding muscles can protect joints more effectively than relying solely on supplements. A joint is not built to carry the weight of the body in isolation. Consider the knee, often described as a simple hinge, yet it operates within a complex system of muscles that stabilize and guide its movement. The quadriceps at the front of the thigh, the hamstrings at the back, and the smaller stabilizing muscles around the hips all work together to control how the knee bends and straightens. When these muscles are strong and responsive, they absorb much of the force generated by walking, climbing, or standing. They act as shock absorbers, reducing the load that reaches the joint surfaces. Scientific studies measuring joint force distribution consistently show that improved muscle strength around a joint decreases the compressive stress on cartilage. In this way, strength becomes a form of protection rather than mere physical performance. When muscles weaken, the joint begins to experience concentrated pressure. Each step transfers more force directly onto cartilage and ligaments, accelerating wear over time. This process often unfolds gradually, especially in individuals who spend long hours sitting or engage in limited physical activity. Muscles adapt to inactivity by losing mass and responsiveness. a process known as atrophy. As this happens, joints lose their external support system. Even simple movements, like standing from a chair or walking upstairs, can place disproportionate stress on joint surfaces. Research in biomechanics has shown that muscle weakness around the hips and knees significantly increases the risk of joint degeneration, particularly in later decades of life. This is not simply a matter of aging, it is a reflection of how the body responds to reduced use. The encouraging aspect of this process is its reversibility. Muscles are remarkably adaptable and respond quickly to gentle, consistent engagement. Unlike cartilage, which repairs slowly, muscle tissue can strengthen within weeks when stimulated regularly. This strengthening does not require heavy weights or intense workouts. In fact, joints often respond better to slow, controlled movements that build stability without excessive strain. Rising from a chair using leg strength instead of relying on the hands, walking at a steady pace with attention to posture, or performing simple bodyweight exercises can gradually rebuild the muscular support system around joints. Scientific research on resistance training for joint health shows that even low-intensity strength exercises improve joint function, reduce discomfort, and enhance overall mobility. There is also an important neurological dimension to muscle engagement. Muscles do not act independently. They respond to signals from the nervous system, which coordinates movement and maintains balance. When muscles are used regularly, neural pathways remain active and efficient. The brain learns to recruit the right muscles at the right time, distributing force evenly across joints. When muscles are underused, these pathways become less precise. Movements may become less coordinated, leading to subtle misalignments that increase joint stress. Gentle strength-building activities restore this communication between brain and body, improving the efficiency of movement and reducing unnecessary strain on joint structures. The hips play a particularly significant role in joint protection throughout the body. As central stabilizers, they influence the alignment of the knees, ankles, and even the lower back. Weakness in hip muscles can cause the knees to move inward during walking or standing, altering the distribution of force across the joint. Over time, this misalignment can contribute to cartilage wear and ligament stress. Strengthening the hips through controlled movements such as slow stepping, light squats, or side leg raises improves alignment and reduces pressure on vulnerable areas. Scientific analysis of gait patterns confirms that stronger hip muscles correlate with more balanced joint loading and reduced risk of discomfort in the knees and lower back. Core muscles also play a protective role that is often overlooked. The muscles of the abdomen and lower back stabilize the spine and pelvis, creating a foundation for all movement. When the core is weak, the body compensates by placing additional strain on joints, particularly in the spine and hips. Strengthening the core through gentle engagement, maintaining upright posture, practicing controlled breathing, or performing simple stability exercises distributes forces more evenly throughout the body. This balanced distribution allows joints to function within their natural range, reducing excessive pressure on any single structure. The protective effect of muscle strength extends beyond mechanical support. Active muscles improve circulation, delivering oxygen and nutrients to surrounding tissues, including ligaments and tendons that support joints. Improved circulation helps maintain the elasticity and resilience of connective tissues, making them less prone to injury. Muscles also release biochemical signals during contraction that influence inflammation and tissue repair. Regular, moderate muscle engagement has been shown to reduce markers of chronic inflammation associated with joint discomfort. In this way, strengthening muscles creates an internal environment that supports joint health on multiple levels. Perhaps the most important aspect of this relationship is consistency. Muscles respond not to occasional intense effort, but to regular, moderate use. A few minutes of strength-building movement each day can have a cumulative protective effect on joints. This approach respects the body's natural capacity for adaptation and avoids the strain that comes from sudden, intense activity. Over time, stronger muscles create a sense of stability and ease in movement. Walking feels lighter, standing feels steadier, and joints experience less friction and stress. The body begins to move as an integrated system rather than a collection of vulnerable parts. The human body was never designed for long stretches of stillness, interrupted by brief moments of intense effort. Its architecture reflects a different rhythm, one shaped by frequent, gentle movement spread naturally throughout the day. When we observe how joints function within this rhythm, a deeper understanding emerges. They respond far more favorably to consistent, low-intensity motion than to occasional bursts of strenuous activity. Modern lifestyles often compress physical activity into isolated sessions. A morning walk, a short workout, or a weekend exercise routine, followed by hours of sitting. While these efforts carry value, they cannot fully compensate for the extended periods of immobility that surround them. Scientific curiosity has begun to reveal that joints thrive not on intensity, but on continuity. Within each joint, synovial fluid acts as both lubricant and nutrient carrier. This fluid responds dynamically to motion, circulating across cartilage surfaces whenever a joint bends and releases. When movement occurs regularly, the fluid remains evenly distributed, maintaining hydration and reducing friction. However, when movement is confined to a single session of the day, synovial fluid circulation becomes uneven. During long sedentary intervals, fluid settles and its distribution becomes less effective. This can lead to stiffness, subtle inflammation, and a gradual decline in joint resilience. Research in joint physiology shows that cartilage cells respond positively to gentle, repeated loading but may react negatively to sudden, excessive force following prolonged inactivity. In this way, the pattern of movement matters as much as the movement itself. Distributed motion throughout the day supports the body's natural maintenance systems. Small, frequent actions, standing up, walking a short distance, rotating the neck and shoulders, bending the knees, create a steady mechanical stimulation that keeps joint tissues active and nourished. Each micro-movement serves as a signal, reminding the body to maintain lubrication, circulation, and neuromuscular coordination. Over time, this steady input helps preserve the elasticity of connective tissues and the responsiveness of stabilizing muscles. Scientific observations of populations with naturally active lifestyles show that individuals who move frequently in gentle ways experience lower rates of joint discomfort than those who rely solely on structured exercise sessions. There is also a metabolic dimension to this rhythm. Joints exist within a broader environment influenced by circulation, inflammation, and cellular repair processes. Prolonged stillness slows blood flow and lymphatic movement, allowing inflammatory byproducts to accumulate around tissues. Gentle movement, even at low intensity, enhances circulation and promotes the removal of metabolic waste. This creates an internal environment more conducive to tissue repair and less prone to chronic irritation. Studies examining sedentary behavior have found that breaking up sitting time with short periods of light activity improves markers of metabolic and inflammatory health, both of which influence joint function. The effect is cumulative, building gradually with each small interruption of stillness. The nervous system also responds to consistent movement in profound ways. Joints rely on proprioception, the body's sense of position and motion, to maintain stability and coordination. When movement occurs regularly, proprioceptive signals remain sharp and responsive. The brain receives continuous feedback about joint position, allowing it to make subtle adjustments that protect tissues from excessive strain. When movement is infrequent, this feedback becomes less precise. Balance may feel less secure, posture may drift, and joints may experience uneven loading. Gentle, Repeated motion keeps neural pathways engaged, maintaining the body's ability to move with efficiency and awareness. This neurological dimension of joint health is often overlooked, yet it plays a crucial role in preserving mobility over time. Modern environments often encourage extended stillness without conscious awareness. Sitting at a desk, watching a screen, or focusing on tasks can lead to hours passing with minimal movement. The body gradually adapts to this pattern. Muscles become less responsive, and joints receive fewer signals to maintain lubrication and alignment. Introducing small moments of motion into these environments can transform their impact. Standing while taking a phone call, stretching the spine after completing a task, or walking briefly between periods of sitting creates a gentle rhythm that supports joint vitality. These actions require little time or effort, yet their physiological benefits accumulate steadily. Interestingly, the body does not distinguish sharply between formal exercise and informal movement when it comes to joint maintenance. From the perspective of cartilage and connective tissue, what matters most is that movement occurs regularly and without excessive strain. A slow walk through a room, a few steps taken while waiting, or a brief stretch of the arms can all contribute to maintaining joint lubrication and flexibility. Over days and months, these small actions form a pattern that supports long-term resilience. Scientific research into habitual movement patterns suggests that total daily motion, regardless of intensity, correlates strongly with joint comfort and mobility in later life. The concept of distributed movement also reflects an evolutionary perspective. Human bodies developed in environments where motion was woven into daily survival. Walking, reaching, carrying, and shifting positions frequently. There were few extended periods of complete stillness. This constant low-level activity maintained joint health naturally. Modern life, by contrast, often separates movement from daily function, turning it into a scheduled task rather than a continuous experience. Reintroducing frequent gentle motion restores a pattern closer to the one the body expects, allowing its maintenance systems to operate as intended. Consistency becomes the quiet force that shapes joint longevity. When movement is integrated into the flow of daily life rather than confined to isolated sessions, joints receive ongoing nourishment and stimulation. Stiffness has less opportunity to accumulate. Circulation remains steady, and connective tissues retain their elasticity. Over time, this rhythm fosters a sense of ease in the body. Movements feel smoother, posture feels more natural, and the subtle signals of joint discomfort become less frequent. The body responds not to occasional effort, but to the patterns it experiences most often, adapting gradually to the gentle language of repeated motion. Posture and alignment shape the internal experience of the body in ways that often go unnoticed. Every moment spent sitting, standing, or walking creates a pattern of force traveling through bones, muscles, and joints. When alignment is balanced, these forces distribute evenly across joint surfaces, allowing cartilage and connective tissue to function without excessive strain. When alignment drifts, even slightly, pressure begins to concentrate in specific areas. Over time, this uneven distribution becomes one of the most silent yet powerful contributors to joint stress. Scientific exploration into biomechanics has revealed that posture is not merely about appearance or discipline. It is a dynamic system that determines how efficiently the body carries itself through space. The spine serves as the central axis of this system. Its natural curves are designed to absorb shock and maintain balance. Yet modern habits often encourage positions that flatten or exaggerate these curves. Hours spent leaning forward towards screens or slumping into chairs gradually shift the head and shoulders out of alignment with the hips. This forward displacement increases the load on the neck and upper back, forcing surrounding muscles to work harder to support the head. The joints of the cervical spine experience increased compression, while the shoulders rotate inward and lose their natural range of motion. Scientific measurements of spinal loading show that even a small forward tilt of the head can significantly increase the force experienced by neck joints. Over time, this persistent imbalance contributes to stiffness, reduced mobility, and discomfort. Alignment influences not only the spine, but also the hips, knees, and ankles. When standing posture is balanced, body weight travels downward through the skeleton in a relatively straight line. Bones, rather than soft tissues, bear much of the load, allowing joints to function within their optimal range. When posture shifts, perhaps through locked knees, tilted hips, or uneven weight distribution, this line of force becomes distorted. The knees may begin to carry pressure unevenly across their surfaces, and the hips may compensate by tightening surrounding muscles. Research in gait analysis has shown that misalignment in one area often creates a chain reaction throughout the body. A slight inward rotation of the knees, for example, can alter foot mechanics and place additional stress on ankle joints. These subtle deviations, repeated daily, accumulate into significant wear over time. The body, however, possesses an extraordinary capacity for adaptation when given proper cues. Postural awareness does not require rigid correction or constant tension. Instead, it begins with gentle attention to how the body positions itself in everyday moments. Sitting with the spine elongated rather than collapsed allows the vertebrae to stack naturally, reducing compression on spinal joints. Allowing the shoulders to rest back and down rather than rounding forward opens space in the chest and decreases strain on the shoulder joints. Placing feet evenly on the ground while standing distributes weight more symmetrically, easing pressure on the knees and hips. These adjustments may seem small, yet their cumulative effect on joint health is profound. Scientific studies on ergonomic alignment demonstrate that maintaining neutral posture reduces mechanical stress on joints and surrounding tissues. Neutral does not mean rigid or perfectly straight. It refers to positions where joints operate near the center of their natural range, allowing muscles to support movement without excessive tension. When joints function within this range, cartilage experiences more even loading, and ligaments are less likely to be overstretched. Over time, this balanced loading helps preserve joint integrity and reduces the likelihood of chronic discomfort. The body responds favorably to positions that respect its structural design, and even modest improvements in alignment can create noticeable changes in how movement feels. Walking provides a clear example of how alignment influences joint health. When posture is upright and balanced, each step transfers force smoothly from heel to toe, with the hips and core guiding the motion. If the upper body leans forward excessively or the shoulders collapse inward, this smooth transfer becomes disrupted. The knees may absorb more impact than intended, and the lower back may compensate for the lack of core engagement. Scientific observation of walking patterns reveals that individuals with balanced posture experience lower joint loading and more efficient movement. Their steps require less energy and create less cumulative stress on cartilage and ligaments. This efficiency reflects the body functioning as an integrated system rather than a series of disconnected parts. Breathing also plays a subtle role in alignment. Shallow breathing, often associated with slouched posture, limits the movement of the ribcage and diaphragm. This restriction can increase tension in the neck and shoulders, indirectly affecting joint comfort. Deep, relaxed breathing encourages the spine to lengthen and the chest to open, supporting more balanced posture. As the diaphragm moves freely, it stabilizes the core and reduces unnecessary strain on spinal joints. Scientific exploration of respiratory mechanics shows that proper breathing patterns contribute to postural stability and overall musculoskeletal health. In this way, even the act of breathing becomes part of the body's alignment system. Technology and modern work environments present ongoing challenges to natural posture. Screens positioned too low or too high, chairs lacking proper support, and prolonged focus on tasks can all encourage positions that strain joints. Adjusting these environments to support neutral alignment can have significant long-term benefits. Raising a screen to eye level, using a chair that supports the natural curve of the spine, or taking brief breaks to reset posture helps maintain balanced joint loading. Over time, these environmental adjustments become habits that protect joint structures without requiring constant conscious effort. What makes alignment so powerful is its cumulative nature. Each moment of balanced posture reduces unnecessary stress, allowing joints to operate within their intended design. Each step taken with awareness reinforces patterns that support longevity and comfort. The body learns from these patterns, gradually adapting to positions that distribute force more evenly. Over months and years, this adaptation can preserve cartilage, maintain flexibility, and reduce the likelihood of chronic joint strain. The process is subtle, unfolding quietly through daily choices rather than dramatic interventions. It reflects a partnership between awareness and biology, where small adjustments in posture create an internal environment of balance and support. Consistency carries a quiet authority within the human body, shaping its structure and function in ways that often escape immediate notice. While intensity captures attention and dramatic effort feels productive, it is the gentle repetition of small actions that most deeply influences joint health over time. The body does not respond primarily to occasional heroic exertion. It responds to patterns. Every day, through the choices we make in how we sit, stand, walk, and move, we teach our joints what to expect. Over weeks, months, and years, the body adapts to these expectations, strengthening where it is used, stiffening where it is neglected, and maintaining what it experiences most consistently. Scientific inquiry into tissue adaptation repeatedly confirms that frequency and regularity of movement shape joint resilience more profoundly than sporadic bursts of effort. Joints exist within a living environment of connective tissues, muscles, nerves, and fluids that respond continuously to mechanical signals. Each time a joint moves gently within its natural range, it receives information that encourages maintenance and repair. Cartilage cells sense pressure and release, adjusting their activity in response to these signals. Synovial fluid circulates more effectively, delivering nutrients and removing waste. Surrounding muscles remain engaged and responsive, ready to stabilize and support. When these signals arrive regularly, the joint environment remains dynamic and healthy. When they arrive only occasionally, separated by long intervals of stillness, the body receives mixed messages. Periods of inactivity allow stiffness and minor inflammation to accumulate, while sudden intense activity can place stress on tissues that are not fully prepared. Consistency smooths this cycle, creating a steady rhythm that joints can adapt to with confidence. The idea of daily kindness toward the body may seem simple, yet its physiological impact is profound. Gentle stretching upon waking reintroduces movement after hours of relative stillness during sleep. This reawakening of joints and muscles restores circulation and lubrication, reducing the stiffness that often accompanies the first steps of the day. Unhurried walking, even for short distances, maintains joint mobility and reinforces neural pathways that coordinate balance and posture. Mindful transitions from sitting to standing engage muscles that protect the knees and hips, preventing abrupt loading on joint surfaces. These small rituals accumulate, forming a protective pattern that supports long-term mobility. Scientific studies examining habitual movement patterns show that individuals who engage in regular low-intensity activity experience better joint function and reduce discomfort compared to those who rely solely on occasional exercise sessions. Consistency also influences the biochemical environment surrounding joints. Moderate, regular movement has been shown to regulate inflammatory processes within the body. When movement is frequent and gentle, It stimulates the release of anti-inflammatory molecules and supports efficient circulation of immune cells. This balanced environment reduces the likelihood of chronic low-grade inflammation that can contribute to joint discomfort and tissue breakdown. Sudden, intense activity following long periods of inactivity can have the opposite effect, temporarily increasing inflammatory markers and placing stress on unprepared tissues. By maintaining a steady rhythm of movement, the body remains in a state of readiness and balance, allowing repair processes to function more effectively. There is a psychological dimension to consistency as well. When movement becomes a natural part of daily life rather than a demanding task, it is more likely to be sustained over time. Gentle routines that feel supportive, rather than exhausting, create a positive relationship with the body. This relationship encourages attentiveness to subtle signals. The slight stiffness in a shoulder, the tension in a knee, and invites compassionate response rather than neglect. Over time, this awareness helps prevent small issues from developing into persistent discomfort. Scientific research into behavior and health maintenance suggests that sustainable habits, even when modest, produce greater long-term benefits than ambitious routines that are difficult to maintain. The body thrives on what is repeated with patience and care. The concept of elasticity extends beyond physical tissues into patterns of movement. Connective tissues such as ligaments and tendons maintain their flexibility when they are used regularly within comfortable ranges. When neglected, they gradually lose elasticity, becoming more prone to stiffness and strain. Gentle daily movement preserves this elasticity, allowing joints to move smoothly and adapt to changing demands. This preservation is not achieved through force, but through continuity. Each day of consistent movement reinforces the body's capacity to remain flexible and responsive. Over time, this continuity forms a foundation of resilience that supports both ordinary activities and unexpected challenges. Even rest becomes more restorative when paired with consistent movement. After periods of gentle activity, joints and muscles receive improved circulation and nutrient delivery, allowing them to recover more efficiently. Sleep quality often improves when the body has experienced balanced movement throughout the day, further supporting tissue repair. This interplay between movement and rest reflects the body's preference for rhythm rather than extremes. Scientific exploration of recovery processes highlights the importance of moderate daily activity in maintaining musculoskeletal health, emphasizing that the body repairs itself most effectively when it is neither overworked nor neglected. The protective effect of consistency becomes especially evident over longer spans of time. A single day of mindful movement may produce subtle changes, but months and years of steady practice shape the structure and function of joints in lasting ways. Cartilage remains better hydrated, muscles maintain supportive strength, and neural coordination stays refined. Movements that once felt effortful become more natural, and the body develops a sense of ease within itself. This gradual transformation often goes unnoticed until it is contrasted with the stiffness and discomfort that arise from prolonged inactivity. The difference reflects the cumulative power of small, repeated choices. In this way, consistency becomes a form of quiet investment in the future of the body. It requires no dramatic effort or extraordinary discipline, only a willingness to move with regularity and care. Each gentle stretch, each mindful step, each balanced transition from rest to motion contributes to an internal environment where joints feel supported and secure. The body responds to this environment by maintaining the structures that allow movement to remain fluid and comfortable. Over time, this steady partnership between intention and biology fosters a sense of trust in the body's ability to sustain itself through the simple, repeated language of daily motion.